Hello and welcome to our first episode of JT Web Talks. And today I'm your host, Alex, with our brilliant head of project management department, Sophia Bilyk. Hello, Sophia.
Hello, Alex. Hi, guys.
Thanks for coming. Sophia, we've been working with you for a few years so far, and we've been dealing with challenging projects, tough clients, and overall, there was an interesting journey together with you when you started from as a project manager, then you're leading a team. But could you please give us an intro about yourself?
Yeah, of course. So I started game development in Poland. It was not management, but game dev, yeah. And
You were a developer.
Yeah. I have such experience, but I prefer PM work. So while I was a student, I did some social media marketing work too. I landed my first job as PM in Warsaw, and then I understood that it's my place. I should do such work. I should be there. And since then, I have done a little bit of everything like in this field. And I worked as a freelance on PM job. Also, I consulted some startups on their processes. And, I always had this ambition to work with processes, like to shape the processes, to work with processes.
This is how we met with you, because I'm also a fan of setting up and improving processes within the organization or any project.
Yeah. It's totally like that, because when I joined our company, it was really perfect fit, because I remember even on the interview, I asked you, how do you work? How your processes look like? And you described everything for me, basically everything with such,
I said everything will be done by you, Sophia.
I understood that you support my ideas. I would be heard here, and I really like it. I really felt that it's my place. It's perfect.
Nice
match. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, thanks. Sounds like we prepared this. Just cheer up our company, our approaches. But yes, indeed, like my management style is actually giving trust and responsibility to the people I'm working with. So, indeed, you have to control the things all around, especially for me, as I'm the CEO and co-founder of the company. I have to deal with all these little details. However, I tend to give this responsibility to others in order to be able to achieve more results. And what we have now, Sophia. So when you started, I guess we were around up to 20 or something employees inside the company, right? The project management office was not established. Yeah, we had a few other PMs. But then within, I guess it's 4 years now, or even 5 years now, right? We are 2.5 size more, 80 plus people. So without such approach, we won't be able to achieve these results by far. And what stands behind that, right? So this is the point, the question I wanted to discuss with you. So we communicate well. This is what stands out our company from others. It's even stated on our logo and on our headline in our motto. It's making the web talk, and by this we mean that communication is a key to success. Well-established, efficient communication can bring any idea to life, and of course any project to become successful. And on the opposite, poor communication can kill deals, can lead to a project failure. So Sophia, when you joined, share your insights about what you felt inside the company and what would you would target as being a leader and being a project manager in terms of the communication styles, techniques.
First thing I was impressed of, it's our internal communication, because I had such experience in one of my previous jobs when I had a manager who just wouldn't let me handle some, tough client situations directly. Basically, anytime something went wrong, he would just jump in and take over the whole situation himself. And And that's all, like I'm not sure what was
You
the
were not able to act on your own and
yeah.
even show your skills in
Yeah,
that case.
maybe he didn't trust me at that point, because I was a junior, or maybe he thought that he was protecting me from something. I don't know. But looking back now, I understand that, like, that does not help you grow, and it's not the right attitude. So yeah, I remember one of my first challenges here in charity, and it was like a little story. It was
Go ahead.
super late at night, almost like midnight or something like that. And earlier that day, we pushed an update for a banking portal. What is this?
I'm starting to remember that.
A banking portal, and it was still like in development, but we accidentally sent out an emails with logins to the staging environment. Yeah, such
Well, banking portal, okay? Let's emphasize this. All right.
okay, yeah. And suddenly in the midnight, my inbox just exploded with WTF messages from the
What's
client.
going on? Messages.
And I remember I called you in Telegram, and I was like half expecting that you would jump in also as my previous manager, and fix all things for me, or at least you give me
By the way, were you afraid of reaching out to me at that time? Having this issue happened.
I believe I already know back then that I cannot be afraid of you, and
Yeah,
you
not the
always
scary guy.
are such a calm person. I don't. I haven't seen you shouting at someone or something like that. So yeah, I was
Well,
not.
maybe I can, Sophia, just interrupt a bit and add an interesting phrase I recently learned, but that showcase this approach right
Mhm.
now, that a person like me, you or someone else could not be responsible for the situation to happen like this, like for me in that case, I was not responsible, but I am responsible for my reaction. This is what we always must be responsible for. Okay, yeah. So what happened next?
Yeah, so I expected that you give me some instructions, maybe, or like step by step, what should I do, or you jump in and fix all the situation. But instead, I just heard very calm voice and like the question, okay, what should we do about that? And there I was in panic mode, but I heard this question and I thought, like, I realized that, okay, you want me to do something about it. And you trust me. Okay. So, yeah, I started throwing out some ideas. You also jump in with your ideas. We just had this discussion. And after that, you said me like, okay, you know what to do. Let's do it. Let's go. Keep. And yeah.
Nice.
Uh,
And I went to bed.
yeah. But I felt really trusted. I felt this strength in me to do this. So yeah, it was really great, and it was like my first experience where I understood that I can do it by myself. And
Interesting example, Sophia. And you know what? Well, actually, we got together today, not just, praising each other, how good who was, but actually it's just an example, to admit that situation can happen. Difficult troubles could happen, but we can only solve them, become better than we are now if we deal with them personally, individually, on our own. However, there is always someone who can who
Mhm.
can help, right? So, with that being said, Sophia, what conclusions or ideas you come up with in order to then build your own team, and principles, philosophy within our company, right? How did you proceed with that?
I understood that, it's not only about trusting your people. You need to trust them, but you also need to teach them how to handle such situations, right? Because everyone who joins the team, he comes in, like with their own background, with their own habits and understanding of the client communication. And sometimes that experience really matches our company values, but sometimes not. And at the beginning, we need to understand what to expect from this person. And first things first, what we do as a key part of our onboarding process is communication training.
Training.
Yeah.
Nice. But tell us what it's all about, this communication training. Like, you do speak with people, like how does it look like?
Actually, you know that, but
yeah, I know, but
course.
still, this is a podcast, Sophia.
Yeah, so it's not a verbal communication. It's more like in a text form, like messages or emails. We have prepared, like up to 10 cases, and such cases could be like when client is not satisfied with our work, or we are about to miss the deadline or something like that, and clients writes to us this urgent message with something and so on, and I just give this message, and PM, the person who joined our team, he should just write the answer. Then I review this answer and give my feedback, maybe how to improve the message and so on.
And you mentioned it's a text situations, right? So there is some either inquiry, reply, argument, whatever with the client. But what is your intake on text messages versus a call with a client, if we're talking about a client communication?
Sometimes call is better for sure, because we are training people how to text and how to deal with emails, and mostly we use text messages in our daily communication.
Yeah, or Slack.
Yeah, it's Slack,
WhatsApp, whatever. Yeah, but mainly nowadays it's all around text communication.
Yeah, when it's it's a tough situation. When you get back and forth with these messages, and you it's a golden rule, messaging with the client on particular subject, and you see that you wrote one message, client answer you with some question, then you write explanation message to this question one more time, and client comes back to you with some other questions or with same question. It's already a call that you need a call. So not call. It's about that you need this call, that you need to offer client a call. You need to, because if you just continue wrote these messages, it doesn't help you. The client will be pissed.
Sometimes it's difficult to actually show a real emotion and, describe the process, describe the explanation the same way how you can do it over a call. So I am also a fan of a quick call rather than a long text of exchange of messages. Nice. Okay, so maybe we'll jump on another topic about techniques in the service business. From my experience, I have personal kind of points, techniques that I use. You establish your own. So let's just combine those and come up with this list. So what would be your first one that you definitely advise everyone to use?
For me, the very first rule, advice, you should put yourself in the client's shoes. You need to think how would you want someone to talk to you
when you a client, right? When you ordering something.
Yeah, because we are clients somewhere in our life. It could be a beauty salon or a car repairment shop or something.
Anywhere, not just in IT business, right?
Yeah, and it's a very simple example when, for example, if I drop my car off at the shop and this guy say to me that it will be done today, okay? And I don't want to be the one chasing them and asking when, what's going on with my car, I want them to update me before I even start worrying about it. Yeah. Same thing if there is some problem with your car, for example. Yeah. If I think that the service provider just messed up with my car. I don't want to hear like 10-minute explanation why it went wrong or why I don't
Like
understand.
apologizing, right?
Yeah, I just want someone to understand me, like my feelings at that moment. Maybe I want them to say sorry, really. Maybe I want
Mm-hmm.
some discount, but I don't want all these tech details and explanation regarding my car.
APMs, listen to this. Be sure in explanation one error happened. But anyways, still, it has to be provided, right?
Yeah.
We should not keep a client without an answer on this, on the problem. But yeah, that sounds really good. So putting ourselves in the client's shoes, basically imagining how we would expect a service to be provided for us. So do the same for the client. Nice. That's the first point. And I would also add here, or maybe it would be just a point number 2 in this list. It's when you receive a task, functionality explanation from the client, before assigning a task to a team, just try to understand why it is needed for the business. Of course, in a huge projects, you have a specific role for that, like business analyst. But in our company, where we deal with small to medium-sized businesses, usually project managers are those who are project manager, business analyst, product owner, all in one, right? So until you assign a task, please make sure that you understand why it's important for the business. Also, I have a case when a project manager had a situation, had an integration with, I guess, Salesforce. That was a request from the client, and I noticed that it goes some in the wrong direction because we overwork hours. We have too many internal calls trying to figure out how to do that. And I stepped in. First thing, yes, I jumped on the call with the client, like you mentioned before. So before just going back and forth, I jumped on the call with the whole team and asked the question, what exactly would you like to get with this integration? Because the team was struggling with some tuning, some, like email notification, something like that. I don't remember exactly the task, but overall it was like trying too many things to accomplish with small details. But the client told us, like, I don't care about those things. What I need is a call to be booked and, appeared in a database, something like that. Once we heard that, I asked the developers, look, how many hours? It's 1 hour of work, So that's an example. Like if you just hear the task, it does. You don't just need to reassign. You are not just the middleman. If we're talking about project manager, it's more than that. It's more valuable position than maybe some other might think. You have to understand why it's important for the business. So I would even put it as a number 2 on our list. And Sophia, so what would be number 3? What technique for the service business we would identify?
I already mentioned one important point, and actually it was your question about the calls. So yeah, I would say that the third rule should be like the call is sometimes better than a message.
Calls better than a message, definitely. We covered that, and I would agree that don't be afraid of jumping on the call with the client. Even there is a big message of how do you say that, like of dissatisfaction. Let's put it like that. Still, learn just to prepare a huge reply, response, jump on the call and discuss with the client. And also, like I would add here a small, like interesting communication technique. There are a few types of communication, like emotional, practical, social. When you speak with the client, either it's over the phone or in the messages, try to identify which type of the communication of the message it goes to, right? If the client is not happy, something broke up, and he just show his emotion reaction, like it's bad, if it's not your fault overall, but try to respond in an emotional way, just to support, like give him like a hug, if we can say it like that. Hey, we understand you. Yeah, it's bad. Not try to explain in a practical manner why, and we tried, we solved. Be on the same side with him, right? That's just addition to that, right? But what I would also add, as here is point number 4, is what is, I think, very important, is assure the quality.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a team, like we have project manager, we have designer, developers, we have quality assurance engineers, and also there is a role, a client, right? Those we are reporting to. sometimes project managers think that client role is a tester in the company. Like he knows the business better, he assigned this task, so he knows how to check it, verify if it's correct. And I personally consider this to be wrong. You don't have to treat your client. He is definitely a part of the project team, right? He is the one who is a visionary and he's supposed to accept the work. But he is not a part of the, like a practical tasks, like a part of someone who's helping you with your job. And testing is a help with your job. So you have to assure client doesn't have to test anything. I personally hate message when project manager sends it like, hey, it's done, please check. No, please never use it. I personally would not like to receive this one. Please check. Why I should check? Well, if you want me really, of course, I understand this better. Maybe if I'm a client, better the business. However, I'm not checking, but I would rather, if I project manager approach with an explanation, like, hey, we do this and this and that. You can go over this process, provide your feedback, but it's done. So you should mean it is done. You went over all the stages yourself and you made sure this is 100% proofed with no bugs, etc. Okay, Sophia, and to finalize our list, right, what would you put there? What an advice or technique we can spot?
Mentions updates, importance of the updates. And I would say it's also like we had such a workshop, and I believe not one, but few in our team where we learned how to make these updates because, it could be like a very basic thing for most people. Like, yeah, what's hard about that? You just write what you have done, and that's all. But actually, it's important to understand what's important for client because some clients just love such long updates with all of tiny details, and text stuff. But from my experience, like a spoiler, most clients are just business owners and they just need they speak numbers, they don't need such a long texts about everything you have done. They just need to know, are we on track? Are we like how much is done and maybe how much budget is gone?
Exactly.
And that's all.
Numbers, Sophia.
Yeah, that's numbers. And you can do it in percentages or real numbers with this hours, budgets, and so on. In our team, there is a rule that no matter what, with no excuses, every client gets an end of the week update, at least with such three important numbers,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like how I used to say, and I still consider this to be our goal, when project manager receives a question from a client about the status of the project, that means this project manager fails in his job. So please always try to avoid such situations when you're waiting too long with the update. You can establish some procedure. You can ask the client when they would like to receive the updates. However, you have to fill the situation. Sometimes it should be done a few times a day if it's an urgent thing to accomplish, or in a week or two if it's just a long-term project. But always keep informed proactively, right? So timely and well-prepared update structured without too many water. Okay. All right. Nice list we have with you, Sophia. And to wrap up, what I would also, from my experience, suggest to the project managers who start in their career, for those who are working with us, those who are working in other companies, they just have fun with your projects. Be interested in those projects. If you don't understand or like the project, just not work on this one. Reassign to someone else. So this job should bring a lot of fun to you. You should feel yourself as an owner, as a business owner and a client, in order to deliver great results. If you treat any project like that, believe me, it will be successful. So, Sophia, thanks a lot for this interesting communication, for coming by. I really enjoyed discussing it with you. I mean, we meet every other week, but still it's so fun and great to, remember some interesting stories and spot those things we value the most. Thanks.
Thank you, Alex, for bringing me here. And I believe it will be like only start of this podcast series.
We will come up with more interesting topics.
Yeah.
And we will just not the last time we having an podcast episode with you, Sophia. So it was really great to speak with you. And thanks everyone for listening. And we'll catch up on the next one.
Yes, thank you guys. Bye bye.